Hello, everyone. Today we are continuing our discussion of concurrent lines. So the first thing we need to do today is divide the word median. So the median of a triangle is a segment whose endpoints are the vertex and the midpoint of the opposite side. So when I look at this triangle ABC, AD is a median. Because again, median goes from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. The other word we need to define is altitude. Altitude is a perpendicular segment from the vertex to the line containing the opposite side. So when I look at these three triangles, this line is an altitude because it goes from the vertex to the opposite side and it's perpendicular. When I have a right triangle, the altitude is the leg because it's going from the vertex to the opposite side as a right angle. And when I have an obtuse triangle, it's on the outside. These were often what you would call the heights when you were talking about area of a triangle. In each triangle below, which special segment is CD? And all my stuff moved around on me here. All right. So let's see here. So if we look at this first triangle here, which is supposed to be A, I don't know why everything moves around so much. In this case, CD is the perpendicular bisector because it cuts it in half and it forms a right angle. Here, CD would cut this in half, so that's a median. C, these two angles up here are equal, so that's the angle bisector. And last, this is on the outside of the triangle, and therefore it's the altitude because it goes from the vertex forming a right angle. 2, given a triangle ABC below, this one's much better. If I know CD is perpendicular, and I know CE is the angle bisector, and CF is a median, what can we decide? So, name two congruent angles with C as the vertex. So if I'm talking about congruent angles, I'm looking for the angle bisector. So since CE is the angle bisector, my congruent angles are ACE and BCE. Because I need to use the angles in the triangle, but CE is bisecting angle ACB. Name two segments that are congruent. Well, if I'm looking for congruent segments, then I'm going to use the fact that CF is the median, because I know the median cuts the opposite side in half. So since CF is the median, that means F is the midpoint. So my congruent segments are AF and FB. Name two segments that are perpendicular. Well, CD is my altitude. So since CD is my altitude, that means CD is perpendicular to AB. Altitudes always form right angles. CD is perpendicular to AB. Name two angles that are right angles. Well, since those two are perpendicular, that means CDA is right and angle CDB. Next, I want you to pause and I want you to plot these 3 points and find the midpoint of each side of the triangle. So I want you to pause and plot the points and then find the midpoint of each side. Okay, So I plotted ABC. And I'm going to give you a little help. The midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. So when I want to find the midpoint of AB, I take the x coordinates, 2 plus 10, divided by 2, comma, the y coordinates, 4 plus 12, divided by 2. And that gives me the answer of 6, comma, 8. So the midpoint of AB is the point 6, 8. Which is right here. I'm going to name that point M. Now I want you to pause again, and I want you to find the midpoint of BC and the midpoint of AC. Okay, so I found the midpoint of BC, which I plotted in purple. I did 10 plus 12 over 2, comma 12 plus 2 over 2, and I got 11, 7, which I named L. Found the midpoint of AC by doing 2 plus 12 over 2 and 4 plus 12 over 2, which gave me 7, 3, which is V. Now to draw my medians, I draw a straight line from the side opposite, or from the vertex opposite to the midpoint. So I'm going to start at B, and I'm going to draw a line to V. So that's a median. I then do the same thing, where I start at C and draw a line to M. And then lastly, I start at A and draw a line to L. You will notice that all three of these lines intersect at a single point. In this case, that single point is 8, 6. 8, 6 is my centroid. And that's our next word to define. Centroid is the point where the medians meet or intersect. Intersect. Now the theorem says the medians of a triangle are concurrent at a point that is 2/3 the distance from each vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So what does that mean? So if we come up here and look at this example, if I name the centroid here X, that means that AX equals 2/3 of AL. Or if we look at this example here, where C is the centroid, that means that DC is 2/3 of DJ. So now let's do some examples here. So in triangle ABC, D is the centroid, so it's where my medians meet. DE is 6. DC is 10. Sorry about the bell. DC is 10. AG is 39. I want to find all of these. So when I'm looking at BE, BE is the whole thing. I know that the top part is 2/3. So if the top part is 2/3, if BD is 2/3, that means DE is 1/3. Well, 1/3 is half of 2/3. So that means DE equals half of BD. So since DE is 6, that means BD is 12, which means the whole thing is 18. So BE is 18. DF, again, is half of DC. The bottom part is always half the large part. So DF is half of 10. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. AD, that's the top part. That's 2/3 of the whole thing. So AD is 2/3 of 39. So I do that on my calculator, and I find out AD is 26. So here are two more examples. I want you to pause and try number 5 and come back and we'll do number 6 together. Okay, so hopefully you paused. So WM is 16. And I know M is the centroid, so I want to find WX. Well, there's 2 ways I can do that. I know that WM is 2/3 of the whole thing, or I can remember that the little part on the bottom, MX, is always half the big part. So it's half the big part, so it's 8. So that means the whole thing is 16 plus 8, which is 24. YM is 12. And they want me to find MO and YO. Oops, I labeled the wrong part. YM is 12. So YM is the little part. So the little part is always half the big part. So that means MO is 24 because I did 12 times 2. And that means YO is 24 plus 12, which is 36. Number 6. In the diagram below, ABC, medians AD, BE, CF intersect at G. That means G is my centroid. BG is 2x plus 10. GE is 3x minus 1. So GE is the bottom. The bottom is always half the top. So GE is half of BG. So that means 3x minus 1 equals 1/2 of 2x plus 10. Distribute my 1/2, so it's 3x minus 1 equals x plus 5. Subtract x, 2x minus 1 equals 5. Add 1, 2x equals 6, which means x equals 3. So if x equals 3, that means GE equals 3 times 3 minus 1, which is 8. And that means BG is 16. So then the whole thing, BE, is 24. So that's the end of our video for today. If you have any questions, please let me know.